Beyonce just got exposed for illegally transferring over $500 million to multiple offshore bank accounts so that she can escape once things start going crazy. Diddy's trial is just about a month away, and word on the street is he's gonna sing like a bird in that courtroom to save himself. He's allegedly already been speaking to prosecutors to reduce his sentence and possibly even free him of any jail time in exchange for him giving the names of the people who helped him carry out the evil things he did. And guess what? Jay-Z and Beyonce are reportedly right there in the list, especially Jay. Apparently, this is also why Beyonce is going on tour right around the time that Diddy's trial is about to start. Not only is she trying to rack in as much money as she can before the world turns on her, but she is reportedly hoping that the tour distracts people from paying attention to Diddy's trial. According to the popular gossip YouTuber Storm Monroe, who I'm sure most of y'all already know, he got some inside scoop from someone close to B that this $500 million escape plan is the reason she's been shoving so many albums and products down our throats recently. She put out her clothing line with Adidas Ivy Park, which is no longer being sold by Adidas because of the reported bad sales it had. She then went back to making music and released Renaissance, and then went on a world tour for the album. Just within weeks of that tour ending, she put out a whole movie, then released a hair care line, then released her Cowboy Carter album. Then she put out a perfume line as well as a tequila brand. And just when we thought she was going to slow down, she performed at the NFL halftime show and is now going on another tour. Mind you, all these things happened within the span of just 2 years. Even during Beyonce's prime, she wasn't releasing these many things, and that's why people believe Storm when he said she's doing it to make as much money as she can because there's something big coming.
And part of the reason why they're already living separate lives, and we may actually see one of the biggest divorces in Hollywood, is because Jay-Z is up next to be exposed. And it's only so much of these stories that Jay-Z can, he can pay off or he can block. He won't be able to stop this. And she knows it, and he knows it too. As far as who's gonna be the breakout victim / story, I don't know. Yeah, I might have to ask Jason Lee. I don't know. But I'm just letting you know that once that comes out and Jay-Z is exposed for his nefarious past, you're gonna see Beyonce divorce him. Okay, and she may or may not do an interview, but you're gonna their publicist is gonna release something. She's gonna say, "Oh, the Carters have been separated for some time. They built this beautiful life, blah 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 blah." Now, before all this happens, we may get another tour. We may get another album out of both of them. I don't know, because at the end of the day, they about their money first. They're gonna do what's best for business first. As far as Beyonce is concerned, do she love him? I mean, he's really all that she knows. She was ready to leave him years ago, but
Oh, but it gets even crazier, y'all. Remember when Diddy got arrested and everyone was going crazy on the internet? Well, it was reported at the time that Jay had met with both a divorce lawyer and a criminal attorney. This was revealed by the popular industry insider, NT Lawyer. In a short tweet that read, "A two for today for Jay-Z," he met with a criminal defense attorney and a divorce attorney. Hashtag Sean Diddy Combs. Hashtag Jay-Z. He was apparently meeting up with a divorce lawyer because Beyonce wanted no parts of his foolishness, and she was ready to leave so she doesn't get dragged into it. It turns out that Beyonce was oblivious to Jay's dealings with Diddy, and she found out once we also started to find out. Or at least that's what her PR team wants us to believe. But people aren't buying it, and they're even saying Beyonce was in on it. But now she's trying to separate herself so she can look innocent. For example, not too long ago, DaBaby did an interview with Shannon Sharpe in which he hinted at having a freak off with Jay-Z and Diddy. He said he went over to Diddy's house for a private meeting along with Beyonce and Jay-Z, but some things allegedly ended up happening that went past just a meeting. He said Beyonce walked up to him to introduce herself almost as if she was trying to flirt her way into something more than just a conversation. And that's when he knew that this so-called private meeting was going to be more than just a meeting. He said just a few minutes into him being there, Diddy kicked kicked everyone out from the room, leaving only him, Beyonce, and Jay. That's when Beyonce allegedly started getting all touchy with him and even placed her hands around his neck.
Beyonce, I was at a party at Diddy crib in LA. This was the beginning of 2020. You know what I mean? Diddy had put everybody else out the crib, like the influx of people, he had put them out. But he had took a liking to me in particular around the time, man. It was really, you know what I mean, like putting his arm around me.
Right.
So he had put majority of the people out, but he allowed me to stay in there. Mm-hmm. Me and, you know, maybe about 15 others, you know,
right.
Jayz and Beyonce being, you know, two of the other 15 people in the room. So that'll just put into perspective of the type of company I was in
right.
at the moment, you know. And she came over and introduced herself to me like as if she had to.
Right.
Beyonce, cut it out. But I'm a big fan of your work, you know what I'm saying? Whoop the whoop, and that was just dope. That was dope as hell to me, man. That was dope.
Now, even though the baby's description sounded like a freak off, some people actually came to Beyonce's defense and said Jay probably forced her into doing it to appease Diddy, since they had a business together that she apparently didn't know about. People even brought up Beyonce's alleged ex-bodyguard Uncle Ron, who mysteriously died after revealing how Jay was keeping Beyonce in his control by having her hooked on multiple hard substances. You know, kind of like what Diddy was doing to Cassie, to be able to control her and have her indulge in freak-offs easily.
She been on him for a long time, and you keep her that way.
One had the foresight years ago to know what Brooklyn could become, and he played an important role in the renaissance of our thriving world. In addition,
not only that, but there was also reports that Jay was putting his hands on Beyonce. It's still unclear if this was a PR move B's team was making to make her out to be a victim, or if he was really mishandling her. But baby, the details were shocking. The source who spilled this tea claims to be Beyonce's ex-assistant, and they revealed this during a now deleted interview with Media Takeout. The assistant said, and I quote, "Seems that for a while he's had a problem with keeping his hands to himself. Now, I've never seen him just flat out strike B, but too many times I've seen him shove and push her. At first, I thought it was just a little horseplay thing between the two, but once I saw how embarrassed B was to be manhandled in front of me in Saint-Tropez, I realized that it was no joke. I've been Beyonce's assistant and friend for a while now, and I've always wanted to say something, but I never felt it was my place. He treats Beyonce like she's an object and not a person." And just when we thought things couldn't get any worse, another tea was recently spilled by a blind item, exposing the details of Beyonce's alleged $500 million escape plan. The source claims B wants to stop doing music and live a quiet life, but they keep her up and make her perform against her will because she's their biggest cash cow. The source said industry insiders have been whispering about this for a while. If you're wondering why her bodyguard chased after her at the big award show recently, it's because Stinger has to flee the country multiple times. She's done with the control, the pressure, and the handlers who make every decision for her. They're afraid she'll leave without notice, and they're right to be. Singer suffers from depression and has S thoughts. Her team sees her as a danger to herself, but what they're really afraid of is losing their cash cow. They've kept her under control for years, but they won't be able to much longer. She's on the verge of rebelling. She's fed up with her mother's control. She's tired of her husband's influence. The source claims that this is why Beyonce has been going so hard these days and doing everything she can to make as much money as she can. Apparently, Jay and his people have been secretly stealing money from her, and now she has to work 10 times more to get to the financial goal she wants to reach so she can escape. The source said, and I quote, "She's questioning her finances and demanding an audit. Here's the truth. She doesn't want to work like this anymore. Singer is exhausted mentally, physically, emotionally. She's been doing this for decades and she just wants to relax, rest, and finally live her life on her own terms. But her team and family won't let her. She didn't even want to do this tour, but she's doing it for two reasons: to reach a specific financial goal that will let her escape for good, and because her family and label are pushing her to work while she still can. Yes, this is why the tickets were so expensive. Yes, this is why she's suddenly diversifying her business moves. Yes, this is why she's quietly buying property outside the US. Lawsuits are coming. Her finances aren't adding up. She's been spending more than she's making, and she's terrified of being trapped in the cycle forever. She just wants peace, she wants to slow down, step back, and not have to grind anymore. But the people around her won't let her stop working. Oh, but this source wasn't done being messy, y'all. The source also said the reason why Beyonce is being strategic with her escape is because she's afraid they might take her out like they did Michael Jackson when he tried to break free from their control. But here's the real tea. She knows exactly what happened to her idol when he tried to break free. She's afraid of the same fate. That's why she's quietly making moves, setting up her escape and ensuring that when she finally disappears, she won't be forced to come back. I'm just saying, if she suddenly cancels her shows or starts spending more time overseas, just know it's not just for fun. Believe what you want, but when it all comes out, remember this post. Woo, child, it's a hot mess out here, y'all. Even though all this info is alleged, it definitely got people talking and they didn't hold back. One person said she doesn't want to face the truth about how she has maintained her space as long as she has in this industry. We all know how wicked this industry has been for decades. You expect me to believe she is in no way dirty or involved in the shady side of this game. Another person said that woman ain't trying to do all that. She's trying to make people see her as a victim and not a willing participant. She is down with all the foolishness. If she was against anything, she would have been walked away. Tina ain't gonna let her get up in a... But now I want to know your thoughts. What do you think of Beyonce's alleged $500 million escape plan? And do y'all really think she'll leave Jay-Z? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and don't forget to click here to watch this other messy video.